It's your boy, the Grass Ninja. We back at it again with another theory video. We're talking Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, the anime, the manga, all of it this time, since the anime's pretty much caught up with the current events during uh, basically what we're going to talk about in this video. Alright, so you should have seen the title, you should have seen the thumbnail. We're going to be discussing Baryon Mode Boruto. Is it possible? Is it possible for there to be other Baryon Mode users? How does all that work, right? Okay, so before I jump right into the video, I just want to quickly say, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up so that YouTube knows to send this video out and put it on other people's recommended pages who like Naruto content. And then also, if you like anything that I had to say, or if I triggered your interest, or you know what I'm saying, you just like the sound of my voice or whatever it happens to be, consider subscribing to the channel so you know you don't miss out on videos. You know, you can hit the notification bell to get notified when I drop a video. So yeah, man, let's get into this whole Baryon Mode Boruto thing. So first of all, before we even jump into the can other people use Baryon Mode, we have to talk about what is Baryon Mode, alright? So I already did a video on this, so I'm gonna just kind of do a brief explainer, but in summary, Baryon Mode is Naruto and Kurama's final trump card, alright? It's a sacrificial move on Kurama's part. The form uses a nuclear fusion like reaction similar to how the sun produces its energy, right? In order to create this new type of power, this brand new power, the Baryon Mode, okay? A power that was so immense, by the way, that it had Naruto surpassing Isshiki in terms of speed, power, strength, etc., right? So Naruto surpassing Isshiki when he enters Baryon Mode. That's how powerful the Baryon Mode transformation is, right? So before we can even address like if other people can use Baryon Mode, we have to tackle the question: is this an exclusive transformation to Naruto? Is it exclusive to Naruto, right? And on surface level, yeah, it is. Okay, it is currently exclusive to Naruto. However, it should be possible in theory for someone who meets the criteria or the prerequisites that Baryon Mode requires, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, if someone meets the prerequisites of Baryon Mode, then they should potentially, possibly be able to, in theory, use Baryon Mode, okay? Now, what do I mean by the prerequisites? Like, what are they? Just real fast, just to make a long story short, the prerequisites of the Baryon Mode are basically you need Naruto's chakra, and it will fuse with Kurama's chakra, and in that fusion creates a brand new energy in the form of baryons, okay? Or you can think of it like this: if you're not trying to use Naruto in this equation because we're trying to see if other people can use Baryon Mode, you simply need two massive chakra pools and perfect chakra control in order to manage this form, alright? So basically, if you take one massive chakra pool and then another massive chakra pool, you fuse them together, that will create a new form of energy in the form of baryons, alright? And when we say fusion, it is the literal fusing of the two chakras, Naruto and Kurama's, ending with the two chakras being completely consumed in the process, and baryon energy is then formed as a byproduct of the fusion reaction, okay? So basically, baryons are formed from the fusion of chakra, and the fusion of chakra is basically the chakra is consumed in the process, okay? So it cannot it does not come back or regrow in that sense, okay? Now the prerequisites are out of the way. Now we have to talk about the baryon shelf. Like, where does all that baryon energy go when it's created, okay? Now before I jump into the shelf, alright, I just have to really quickly divert you guys to my Naruto's True Power Explained video, where we discuss Naruto's like true power beyond the Nine Tails. So go ahead and give that video a click. It'll be linked in the description along with my Baryon Mode Explained video, so if you want more in-depth explanations on all this stuff, go ahead and check those out. But this is where we start getting into speculative theory and stuff like that about how Baryon Mode works, because right now we've established that Naruto's chakra fusing with Kurama's chakra creates baryon energy, right? But what if I told you it didn't? Okay, so first let's talk about the Baryon Mode shelf, alright? And if you remember my shelf theory, you understand that Naruto has this ability to basically house or store these different entities of chakra within himself and maintain their unique characteristics, alright? So I'll explain that in a minute, alright? So first thing you guys need to realize about Baryon Mode and how it's activated is that the way Baryon Mode is activated is actually the most interesting thing to me. So when it's activated, Kurama claps his palms together when the Baryon Mode, when entering Baryon Mode, instead of, like, you know, bumping his fist with Naruto, which kind of, to me, it gives me the implication, or it's implying to me, that it's a technique that Kurama activates, right? It's not like something that, like, normally when the Nine Tails gives Naruto chakra, or when they tap into, you know, a new form or whatever, or when the Nine Tails, is amping his own chakra, they do different things, right? So if the Naruto is getting chakra from the Nine Tails, or they're bonding or binding their chakras together, they'll usually fist bump each other, right? But if the Nine Tails is simply amping up its chakra inside of Naruto, it'll usually clap his hands together, right? So it seems like it's a technique that Kurama activates in order to manipulate his own chakra, because he's not binding or directly interacting with Naruto's chakra when they initiate the form, alright? And then another thing that follows up with that is that when Naruto entered Baryon Mode, just before, Naruto was stated by the Nine Tails himself to be near death, alright? So Naruto was stated to be near death by Kurama right before entering Baryon Mode, which implies Naruto's base chakra pool already starting off in the transformation was severely low, alright? So Naruto's base chakra started off severely low when first transforming into Baryon Mode, alright? And since we know, thanks to Baryon Mode being super awesome and how it took down Isshiki, we know that since chakra is directly tied to your life force, and Naruto didn't just immediately die when entering the Baryon Mode, even though we established that his chakra, or his base chakra, was critically low, you know, as he was literally bleeding out from the chakra absorbing rods Isshiki struck Naruto with before crushing him between two massive cubes, forcing his wounds to spill more and more blood every time his heart beat, right? Because, like, you saw the ass whooping that Isshiki left Naruto with, right? And also you could take into account that the cubes have the ability to distort the flow of chakra within a given radius, which made it impossible for, like, Sage 6 Paths, Kyuubi Chakra Mode Naruto to even sense Isshiki in battle. So it's possible with Naruto being so heavily injured and being physically sandwiched between these two cubes, the cubes could have distorted Naruto's ability to, like manage his chakra. They could have distorted Naruto's chakra flow, suppressing his ability to, like, mold his chakra, right? But even if you don't give the cubes a thing, like, Naruto was literally dying. It's stated by the Nine Tails that this dude was dying. He was at death's door, and if you are about to die, it's safe to assume you have no chakra at that point, okay? So in my Naruto's True Power video, or Naruto's True Power Explained video, I talked about this idea of the shelf theory, right? Where I explained Naruto's ability to manage multiple outside sources of chakra, which is basically all the chakra pools separate from Naruto's base, right? The different pools of chakra, they're organized inside of Naruto, and they're shelved off from one another, right? The different pools of chakra, they maintain their unique qualities while stored this way. Like, so when Naruto shelves off these different pools of chakra, they maintain their characteristics and their unique qualities when they're stored this way, which grants Naruto access to, like, their various abilities, right? So this one ability that Naruto has grants him access to, like, a bunch of other abilities, like the lava release, the boil release, the magnet release. Like, the fact that when Naruto uses the fact that when Naruto gets chakra from all the tailed beasts, and he can utilize those chakras as they are, instead of, like, the way Sasuke did it when he took chakra from all the tailed beasts and he molded it back into his unique chakra signature, basically adding it to his base. Naruto doesn't do that. Naruto stores these different chakras separate from his base, and then he can like, you know, pull from them whenever he needs to, right? Which grants him access to, like, you know, lava style Rasen Shuriken, or, you know, the boil release amp, or the magnet style sealing Rasengan, right? Etc, etc, right? So Naruto has this unique ability amongst himself where he can manage all these different pools of chakra, right? Now, Baryon Mode is stated by Kurama to be similar to a nuclear fusion reaction, right? So just like the sun that uses the chakra as its fuel instead of like hydrogen atoms, okay? So at the end of the Baryon Mode transformation, Kurama states that the price of the Baryon Mode was never Naruto and Kurama's lives, but it was solely Kurama's lives, right? Like that whole sketchy explanation where he was like, use this form and you're gonna die. And then, oh yeah, whichever one of us runs out of chakra first is gonna die. And then it's like, dude, your life was never on the line for Baryon Mode. So, it was solely Kurama's life, right? And this statement, plus like the evidence we put together earlier proving that Naruto was already near death or nearing 0 chakra right before entering like the Baryon Mode, that means like the Baryon Mode transformation might function completely differently than what was originally explained to us. Because for one, the Nine Tails rushed the explanation and straight up told Naruto that essentially the theory doesn't matter. And then he goes on to say that it was never your life at risk, it was always mine, and I only lied to you because you would have never agreed to use the form if you knew I was gonna throw my life away, type shit, right? So now we have a new formula we can think about. Instead of it going back to like Naruto fusing his chakra with Kurama's chakra and creates a brand new energy, or like, you know, a massive chakra pool fusing with another massive chakra pool creating brand new energy, we could think of it more like Kurama's taking his chakra, right? Because we know Kurama is manipulating his own chakra, since he's the one that activates the Baryon Mode when he claps his palms together, right? Like, at no point do we see him in the anime or in the manga physically interact or bind himself to Naruto's chakra in order to fuse with his chakra, right? And I get it, they're sealed together as one, but still, even at the end of the valley, not at the final valley, right, where Naruto and Sasuke had their last fight, the Nine Tails still fist bumped Naruto in order to give him his last bit of chakra before going to sleep and stuff. So usually when the Nine Tails passes on chakra or interacts with Naruto's chakra in a new way or in some way at all, they usually fist bump, okay? And then when the Nine Tails, or when Naruto's in use of the Nine Tails chakra and he amps him further, the Nine Tails will clap his palms together, alright? This is just, you know, this is just based off of the visuals we've been given by the anime and the manga, right? So what could be happening instead of the Nine Tails fusing his chakra with Naruto's is that the Nine Tails could be taking his chakra and he manipulates it in a way where he basically highly compresses his chakra into a central point, right? And then this high compression of his massive chakra all into one single point ignites into a fusion-like reaction, which creates the Baryon energy, right? Or we could just say you take massive chakra, you highly compress it into a fine point, your chakra will ignite in a fusion-like reaction, which will create baryons, which will replace your chakra in that shelf with baryon energy, alright? So like, either way you look at it, the new baryon energy is and will be housed or sustained in that shelf. So for Naruto, when he uses the Baryon Mode energy, if we look at it like broken down this way, Kurama's chakra being compressed into a central point and then fusing to become baryons, the Nine Tails shelf of chakra, or the Nine Tails chakra pool, could literally be compressed down to a point and then releasing baryon energy, and that pool of chakra, or that shelf that Naruto usually pulls the Nine Tails power from, now he's pulling baryon energy from that shelf instead, because all that Nine Tails chakra is becoming baryon energy, alright? So either way you look at it, the new baryon energy is going to be housed or sustained in that Nine Tails shelf until there's no more of like Kurama's chakra to consume, and at which point the baryon reaction would like come to an end and Kurama's chakra would be no more, right? And that's like, you know, and like if you're like wondering like why would I assume that the Nine Tails is just compressing his chakra For one, it's compared to the sun. He says that it's a nuclear reaction similar to how the sun does it, and the sun isn't fusing two separate entities of energy. It's literally, its base ingredients are the same, and it's hydrogen atoms, like it's protons. So it would literally just fuse one base element with itself and then create a new form of energy. So we understand that if it's being compared to the sun, we can look at how nuclear fusion works in the sun and use that as a reference. Alright, so we don't have to have the Naruto chakra in the equation, because Kurama's chakra plus Kurama's chakra, or Kurama's chakra fusing on itself, could also create a new energy source. Going by the comparison of like the whole sun nuclear fusion thing, right? And also, the high compression of chakra is shown to us to increase its overall intensity. Like with Boruto's high compression Rasengan, it dramatically increases in strength compared to like his base Rasengan, right? So like the hyper compression of a massive amount of chakra like the Nine Tails could be what ignites the fusion of chakra itself, right? If you have enough of it and you can compress it finely enough down to one single point, then something like that could possibly happen, right? And more evidence that even suggests that this could be the case comes from Sakura, alright? After she examines Naruto's health post Baryon mode, Sakura confirms to us that Naruto no longer has any trace of the Nine Tails chakra and no longer possesses the superhuman strength that comes with it, alright? However, nothing is mentioned about Naruto's overall stamina loss or his lifespan being weakened or shortened, which further backs up the idea that the Baryon mode probably didn't rely on the consumption of Naruto's chakra, because we established that Naruto going into Baryon mode barely had any chakra, okay? And then it also helps to think, after the Baryon mode transformation was done, besides the fact that he was getting his ass beat and he was taking the fatigue from the form, he was still like basically on the ground, couldn't help with dealing with Boruto Shiki because he had no chakra from that moment forward, okay? And like, that's basically like how like we could think about it, right? So like, just like, what if the Nine Tails, well, like, you know, if Kakashi was the one who gave Boruto like the hints to, like, you know, utilize his skills, and then utilize his skills and his talent to come up with something new, and then Boruto goes and like, if I compress all my chakra into one point as tightly as I can, then maybe I'll get a more intense attack, right? Then and Kakashi recognized that, and he was like, yo, that's some genius shit. We already know that the Nine Tails has like a intellect similar to that of Kakashi, because Kakashi praises him and says that you could be like a Jonin leader or whatever. So it's like, you know, Kurama's got the intellect of an elite level ninja, and he could probably has been hanging around all the scientists and Konoha and stuff, and he's probably come to the conclusion that he could do something like this. Or maybe all the tailed beasts know that they can basically go like supernova at any point in their time, in their lifespan. They just choose not to, because that's like self-destructing for them. That's suicidal. But yeah, we basically explain how it's possible for someone else to potentially use Baryon mode, right? So let's recap. The prerequisites of Baryon mode are simply, you just need to have at least 2 massive pools of chakra, alright? So think about perfect jinchuriki. Let's think about the karma users, and let's think about the curse mark users, because right off the top of my head, those are some of the people that we already know have at least 2 different bodies of chakra inside of them, right? Whether or not they're stored as smoothly and as efficiently as Naruto has the ability to do, we don't know. But let's dissect this, right? So if Baryon mode does work this way, then who else could use it, right? So we already hit it. Let's just hit this one quick. Perfect jinchuriki, right? So since the jinchuriki already have 2 different chakra pools to pull from, it should be possible for a perfect jinchuriki to manage a Baryon mode reaction just like Naruto did. The only downside is that the tailed beasts would have to agree to or be forced into giving up their life in order to achieve the form, right? And that goes for like the 10 tails jinchuriki as well. Like, I'm pretty sure if Madara or Obito, if they had knowledge of like Baryon mode, or if Kishimoto at the time had knowledge of Baryon mode, then they could potentially use it like if they could, like, if Madara or Obito, like, could use a genjutsu strong enough, or use just their sheer willpower to force the Ten Tails into, like, compressing its chakra down to a point where it would ignite, then yeah, the Ten Tails jinchuriki would also be up for Baryon mode as well. And then we also got our next step, so the karma users. So the interesting thing here is that the karma can be viewed as a doorway for, like, the karma wielder to access Otsutsuki's chakra, right? At the expense of the wielder being rewritten into the said Otsutsuki, okay? So, like, in Boruto's case, his karma grants him access to Momoshiki's chakra, and if Baryon mode works the way we've described it, then a karma user could not only have a potential way to purge themselves of the Otsutsuki that lay within, by consuming all the Otsutsuki chakra in order to fuel the transformation, but the form would most likely last far longer and be more powerful, considering Karma's power was, or Kurama's power, my bad, considering Kurama's power was only a fraction of the Ten Tails power, whose power was only a fraction of Kaguya, who was an Otsutsuki herself, okay? And Momoshiki is stated to be on the same tier or above Kaguya Otsutsuki, so just like before, the only downside is that you would have the Otsutsuki would have to, like, agree to or be forced into giving up their life in order for a karma user to achieve a Baryon mode form. But I mean, Boruto with the Jogan, I mean, if it's true what the theories of people saying that it's like the accumulation of all the dojutsus we've seen so far, then he's probably got some genjutsu that the Otsutsuki are super scared of, and he could force them into a Baryon mode transformation, or maybe what's it called? Like, Boruto, at the end of the day, him and Momoshiki are going up against the Otsutsuki god, and Momoshiki agrees to, like, you know, lay down his life in order to give Boruto the power up he needs to fight the Otsutsuki god, or something like that, right? And then lastly, we talked about was the curse mark users. Now, Orochimaru's curse mark could also be viewed as like a separate chakra pool, and therefore would be subject to the same rules we established earlier. So, like, interestingly enough, this type of Baryon mode transformation could either be really short-lived or last indefinitely, since the curse mark relies on forcing nature energy into the user and amping the user with Orochimaru's chakra. It really depends on the consumption rate of Baryon mode versus, like, the influx of nature energy and Orochimaru's chakra, because basically it's worth noting, however, that this type of Baryon mode transformation would probably be a lot weaker and possibly not work at all, given the quantity of chakra that the curse mark provides, alright? Because, you know, the curse mark itself, basically, like, if Baryon mode is constantly consuming chakra, but the curse mark's function is to constantly, like, force senjutsu chakra into whoever has that curse mark, then it's possible that, like, it's kind of like if it can force senjutsu chakra into you faster than the Baryon mode can consume it, then it's just gonna stay lit forever until you decide to shut off the form, or you'll just be stuck in that transformation until your life force eventually dies out, because your Baryon energy is connected to your base chakra shelf, or something like that. But then again, we didn't see, maybe it's because Naruto's Uzumaki or something like that, but there was nothing stated about, oh yeah, you're going to suffer from major stamina loss, you're always going to have fatigue, or your overall lifespan was shortened. We didn't get anything like that for Naruto's explanation. Kurama even straight up said, like, his whole explanation on how the form works and, like, what its true drawbacks were super sketchy, makes you question how the entire form works itself, and he even says himself that don't think about it because the theory doesn't matter. But hey, I'm a theory channel on YouTube, so theories always matter to me, so I had to break this shit down. And it's totally possible that this was said laying the seeds for potentially Boruto or someone else in the future to use Baryon mode, because you gotta remember, when Naruto was fighting Isshiki, Boruto had just passed out and Momoshiki was taking over, and we have a panel in the manga where Boruto, or Boruto Shiki, Momoshiki possessing Boruto's body, actually wakes up and he watches the last final moments of the battle before he picks the opportune moment to strike, right? So Momoshiki has seen how Baryon Mode works, and we know that if Boruto uses the true essence of karma, he can tap into the entire battle experience of Momoshiki, and if the Jogan works the way we think it's supposed to work, he might be able to copy how like ninjutsu and certain techniques just like the Sharingan did. And we know Momoshiki saw Naruto's chakra flow and how everything was going down because he had Byakugan open. So all these pieces, they connect in a way, and it's totally possible that we could have a bunch of Baryon Mode users at the end of the series, or Baryon Mode might come back to save the day towards the end of the series. Because you got to remember, when we get to the time skip, it's not going to be the end of the series that's the final battle. Now, I see the Boruto time skip, or the events of episode 1 and chapter 1, they're like equal to the events of like the first bit of Shippuden, where we see Naruto looking up at Sasuke at the destroyed Orochimaru's hideout, and then we cut to see how we got there. Okay, so I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna see some earlier stuff from the time skip, and we're gonna see how we eventually get to that point, and then we're going to have a bunch of story that takes place after that. Right, we're gonna see what happens after the destruction of the village, after Boruto and Kwaki fight, and then we're gonna see how they end up working together to take down the Ten Tails, eventually fight the Otsutsuki God, and you know, that's basically gonna be it. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that they have to do before, like, you know, and then eventually, you know, curing each other of the karma or whatever. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that they're gonna have to do before the Boruto series could officially end. It's not just gonna be like, and we finally at least I don't think we're gonna see them on the Hokage faces fighting it off, and that's their final battle. Okay, I think that's equivalent to Hebi Sasuke meeting Shippuden Naruto for the first time. But let me know what you guys think, if I made any sense, or if I'm completely batshit crazy. Let me know in the comments. Go ahead, like the video if you made it to the end. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed any of the content, or you were entertained in any way, or you just, you know, I made you think about Baryon Mode in a slightly different way. Hit the bell icon to be notified about any of my other videos when they drop, all that good stuff. Follow me on TikTok, where I make little quick explainer videos where we do like little jokes and memes about the Boruto franchise. But yeah, man, I've been your boy, the Grass Ninja. It's been a long one, almost 30 minutes, but it was fun. Peace.